Hi class, in this recording we're going to focus on both the liver and gallbladder anatomy and physiology. So we're going to focus on the liver first. The liver is the second largest organ of the human body, or if you ignore the skin, it's the largest organ of the body, minus the skin, if we think of the skin as an organ. So there I have the liver highlighted for us. It's located in the upper right abdominal pelvic quadrant. And then we also have the gallbladder. Right there's the gallbladder. It tends to have a slight greenish coloration, and it's going to be located on the inferior margin of our liver. Now as we look at the liver itself, oh, wrong button, there we go. We have some ligaments that I want to highlight for us. First, we have the falciform ligament. That falciform ligament is going to separate the left lobe of the liver from the right lobe of the liver. And then we are going to have on the anterior margin, or on the inferior margin of the falciform ligament, the round ligament, or ligamentum teres. And in this view here in visible body, the ligamentum teres or round ligament is truncated. That is in a cadaver specimen, extends all the way down to the navel or belly button. It's a hold off or a remnant of umbilical circulation from when we were in utero and relied on the umbilical cord to deliver oxygenated blood and nutrients to our body. So those are some important ligaments of the liver. Let's talk about some ducts. The ducts of the liver, I'm going to back it up here and highlight these ducts. Let's zoom in a little bit more. We have left and right hepatic ducts. So if I click on this lobe of the liver and hit hide, we can better see the left and right hepatic ducts. Those will carry bile that's produced by the liver to the common hepatic duct. That bile will then travel from the common hepatic duct to the cystic duct. Cystic is a root word meaning liver, and when we look at the liver, hept or hepatic is a root word meaning liver. So the common hepatic duct will carry bile to the cystic duct, and from the cystic duct, the bile will be stored in our gallbladder. While the bile is in the gallbladder, the bile is concentrated, and then when we eat fatty food and need some bile to help us digest the fatty food, the gallbladder will constrict, send the concentrated bile through the cystic duct down into the bile duct, the common bile duct. And I'll zoom out here for a moment. And you can see that common bile duct draining through the pancreas. And if I zoom in right here, you can see the other end of it that's highlighted. There's the other end of it that's been highlighted. It'll go through the pancreas and drain into the duodenum of the small intestines. So let's talk about the components of the liver. The structural and functional component of the liver is the lobule, sometimes referred to as the hepatic lobule. I'm in a coffee shop right now, and they're grinding coffee in the background, so I apologize for any background noise you may be hearing right now. If I click on the microanatomy view, I can go and click on the hepatic lobule. And as we look at these hepatic lobules within the liver, I want to emphasize that they have a roughly hexagonal appearance to them. If I go back and click on the histology guide link, let's go with the pig liver, because we as humans have livers that tend to resemble pig livers. So here we can see just a raw, naked photomicrograph of some hepatic lobules. So you can see in real life they aren't perfect hexagons, but they're pretty good looking. I mean, they are, generally speaking, hexagonal in appearance. So I'm going to go back to visible body, because it's easier to learn with these idealized digital diagrams that we're working with here in Visible Body. So here is one hepatic lobule. The cells that make up the hepatic lobule, all these individual cells, are called hepatocytes. Hept meaning liver. So the liver cell, the technical name for a liver cell is a hepatocyte. And if I look in this photomicrograph, we can see the hepatocytes have a heterogeneous pink cytoplasm with pink nuclei associated with them. And then, as we look at this, we're going to see the general pathway of flow is going to be radiating. So we have this radiating pathway where we'll have blood delivered right here, and the blood will flow through these little pathways past all the hepatocytes and eventually make its way to these veins, these venous vessels. So let's talk about those pathways. Within the center of the hepatic lobule, we have that central vein. That's the largest vein. And to pull it back up in Histology guide, we can see the central vein right here. Oop, I hit the space bar. My bad. I do that a lot when I'm on this website. So here is the central vein in a photomicrograph. And then here, we go to move the screen, move our view. Here we can see the central vein right there within Visible Body. And then this blood that's going through the central vein is coming directly from the digestive system through the hepatic portal system, and it's going to have many toxins that we've absorbed from the small intestines. And as the blood flows through these little teeny tiny vessels called hepatic sinusoids, the blood will be exposed to the hepatocytes or liver cells and be detoxified. So here we have the sinusoids highlighted in Visible Body. In our photomicrograph, we can see those sinusoids as these little meandering pathways. And they all, obviously in real life is a lot messier than the diagrams and figures in your textbooks have you to believe. So as we look at this in real life, we can see how the sinusoids, generally speaking, are going to radiate outward until we get to the corners. And when we're at the corners of the hepatic lobules, we're going to have some tubes at those corners, some blood vessels at those corners. These are going to be arranged in groups of 3 and are going to be referred to as portal triads. So within Visible Body, we can pull up a portal triad. And the 3 vessels or the 3 tubes that we see are going to be a vein, an artery, and a bile vessel that carries bile either to the left or right hepatic ducts. So those are the lobules, the central vein, and the hepatic sinusoids. We also need to cover some cells of the liver. So we have some asterisks here next to the cell types. Hepatocyte we've already covered. It's the generic liver cell. And then stellate macrophage is the next one. The old school name for stellate macrophage is Knupfer cell, K-N-U-P-P-F-E-R. I think it's a German word. Don't ask me if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm pretty sure I'm not. So let's go ahead and just look at some hepatic sinusoids to find some Knupfer cells. And the key characteristic I want to highlight here is the elongated nuclei. So right there at the tip of my yellow arrow that I just drew, there's a nucleus. You can see that dark purple nucleus, how it's elongated and it's along the edge of a sinusoid. That's a stellate macrophage or Knupfer cell. The new name, stellate macrophage, is a more descriptive name. They tend to have a star-shaped appearance if you look at them in isolation, not from a top cross-sectional view like we have here. and they tend to phagocytize debris that's found within the liver. They have a macrophage function. So I'll go ahead and zoom in on this individual stellate macrophage for you. But we can find some other stellate macrophages as well. They tend to be fairly common. So here at the tip of my pointer is another stellate macrophage. Look for the elongated nucleus. And let's just zoom out, go to a totally different part of the liver, and zoom in just to find some other stellate macrophages. Ooh, this is a beautiful sinusoid right here. That's a lab exam worthy one. And as we're looking, I'm just scanning. I'm looking. Oh, there's a nice elongated dark nucleus. There's a nice stellate macrophage right there. So that's what we look for with the stellate macrophages. We've already talked about the gallbladder. Let's talk about hepatic portal circulation. As we're looking at the hepatic portal system, this is a system of blood vessels that's going to carry blood directly from the small intestine to the liver so that the liver can remove toxins from the bloodstream before those toxins are sent to the heart and then recirculated to the rest of the body. So here I am at the system view, and I'm just going to go, I believe there's a hepatic portal view. No, not believe, I know there is. So let's just find that hepatic portal view. Colon, regional, smooth muscle. Oh, okay, so lymphatic, urinary, digestive. And I am not seeing the hepatic portal view very nicely right here. So we're just gonna go for broke and do the messier one. So I need to scroll up to up, digestive system. And let's do the regional vasculature view here. So this will show the hepatic portal view. It just shows a lot of extra stuff that I don't want to have to delete from our view. So first, let's clean up our view. I'm going to get rid of the heart. I don't want any of the heart. Go away, heart. And let's get rid of the stomach entirely. And let's get rid of the colon entirely. And let's get rid of the small intestine entirely. And for good measure, let's get rid of the pancreas as well. And the skeletal system, because that's just messing things up. There we go. So this is a cleaned up view. It's still pretty messy though. So let's focus on the hepatic portal circulation. So as we look at the hepatic portal circulation, we have the renal, or we have right here, this hepatic portal vein. This large vein that I have highlighted is going to carry blood from the digestive system to the liver. And as we look at the hepatic portal vein, it has two primary branches to it. One branch right here is the splenic vein. It's going to branch off to the spleen. So I'm going to go ahead and add the spleen back in here. Just so we can spleen. There we go. Oh, it was there the whole time. My bad. I just needed to zoom out. So we have the splenic vein that goes all the way to the spleen. And that splenic vein will drain directly into the hepatic portal system. Or the hepatic portal vein. We also have the superior and inferior mesenteric veins. As we look at those veins, we can see them here and here. So the superior mesenteric vein, let me go ahead and really clean this up. I'm going to go for broke here. Let's get rid of all the arteries. We don't need to see those arteries. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the veins too, and all the ligaments. And then I'll just add in those structures that we want to focus on. Splenic vein. Here we go. And I'll add in the mesenteric vein, and I'll also add in the branches of it as well. And let's go ahead and add in the superior mesenteric vein as well. And we'll put in our portal as well. Of course. So there we can see the entire hepatic portal system. So we're looking at this branching system in the body. The inferior mesenteric vein is going to extend more inferiorly into the body, whereas the superior mesenteric vein is going to terminate more superiorly within the body. And we can add in the mesentery here. Which is not popping up, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw in our small intestine, so we can see those veins and how they interact with the small intestine. So to recap, we have the hepatic portal vein that branches into the superior mesenteric and splenic vein, and the splenic vein will then have a inferior mesenteric vein coming off of it. That's probably more than you were hoping for. The hepatic vein is the vein that connects directly from the liver to the inferior vena cava. So if I add in the inferior vena cava, and then I add back in our hepatic vein, we can see how these hepatic veins connect directly to our inferior vena cava. We have a left and right hepatic vein. So class, as we are coming to the end of our video recording here, those are all of the structures of the liver and gallbladder, the anatomy and the physiology and histology. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them in the course discussion boards or shoot me an email. And as always, happy studies.